Hey, welcome to Broken World Entertainment. I've just watched She-Hulk. So, all the Marvel stands, all the shills out there saying, it's better than I thought, and oh, it's so much fun, and blah blah blah, are full of shit. This show is god awful. Oh my god, it was painful to watch. By the way, I'm spoiling the shit out of this first episode because it is terrible. It is not funny. The fourth wall breaking stuff is horribly done. The CG is worse than you see in the trailer. Oh my Jesus Christ, this show is terrible. So you start off with her giving this speech and you're like, what the hell is going on? And as she's doing it, you hear a guy saying like, no, that's terrible. And a girl like, shut up you. She's giving her speech that she's going to give to the jury. And of course, the guy is there going like, yeah, no, that's terrible. Her friend, who I believe his name is Nikki, is like, what are you talking about? It's great. Yeah, Jen, you've got this. And they're telling the guy to shut up. He doesn't know what the hell he's going on about. Her friend is, I think he said, a paralegal. He's an actual lawyer. And he's like, what, you're going to take her word over mine? And they're like, yeah, because you're stupid. So, bye. So instantly, they're male shaming, basically. At least straight white male. As she's about to walk out of the room, she closes the door, turns around and says, oh, by the way, yeah, because they mention her, like, She-Hulking out. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're probably wondering what this is. And then we go into this big whole flashback. So you get the scene where it was in the trailer, or the clip they released of her driving, where she's virgin shaming Captain America. Sees the spaceship, crashes. She gets a big cut in her arm, and as she's saving Bruce, well, not saving, but she's pulling him out of the car, his blood drips onto the big wound on her arm, and she instantly She-Hulks out. Runs off into the forest, wakes up back as Jen Walters, kind of in a field or something. There's a bar, she goes into the bar, like she sneaks into it, goes into the bathroom. This is, by the way, this is the scene that the writers and shit said was the most important, powerful scene they ever did. She sneaks into the bathroom. She's a bit dirty, a little bit of blood on her shirt. She's there trying to clean it, and these 4 or 5 fucking women walk into the bathroom and they're like, oh honey, what happened to you? And immediately they're like, who did this to you? What's his name? Where do we find him? They start trying to put makeup on her, they put a jacket on her and all this shit. The scene that's meant to be the most important scene that they've ever filmed and felt it was the best scene of the entire series and shit, is 40 seconds long, if even that. And it is the fucking throwaway scene. It's terrible. It's a nothing scene. So she's outside waiting for Bruce to pick her up. 3 guys walk up and they're like, hey sweetness, what's your story, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, is that my boyfriend? Starts walking out and they're like, hey, come back. And she just She-Hulks out at them. And next thing, she wakes up as Jen again on, well, you think it's an island through the ad. They said that they're in Mexico. So she's with Bruce now and he starts teaching her all this stuff. And she instantly is like, yeah, I'm better at this and whatnot. Here's one of the weird things that I'll throw in now that makes no sense. So, you saw in the trailers and stuff when she has the She-Hulk out in the courtroom and she's like, oh, I really like this suit. And you'd think, oh, the suit's gonna get ripped and all this shit. Every time she hulks out in her normal clothes, they do not rip. They don't rip. No matter what she's wearing, it's fine. She grows and becomes the She-Hulk. Her clothes are perfectly fine. Except for that courtroom scene, which, by the way, is the end of the first episode. And all that tears is the sleeve of her suit jacket. But it makes no sense. It's like, but every other time you Hulk out, your clothes aren't ripping. So even the joke of, oh, spandex is your best friend, makes no sense because none of her clothes rip. So they're in Mexico. She just wants to get back to her life. Hulk is trying, or I should say Professor Hulk. He calls himself, by the way, Smart Hulk. And she takes the piss out of him for that. But he's saying, well, I didn't call myself. People gave me that name. But they keep going on about, oh, he's Smart Hulk. Not Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk. He's trying to tell her, oh, you know, it took me 10 years to do this and blah, blah, blah. So we get to the point where he's trying to make her Hulk out, which is have her in the containment unit. Well, I don't know what it is. Where the saw blades are. Turns it on, it comes towards her. She hulks out, destroys that wall. He's like, yes, yeah. She breaks out. He's like, no. And she goes, I'm done with this. I'm gone. And he goes, hang on, wait a minute. Jen? And she's like, yeah. He's like, you're still Jen? And she's like, yeah. And that's when there's no other voice in there. There's no one else in there. It's just you. And she's, yeah. So he realizes almost everything he's gone through, she doesn't go through. So when she becomes Hulk, she's still Jen. Okay, so she doesn't have to fight this other consciousness. It's just her, just that she's a Hulk. Then you get the training montage, which is just shit. By the way, nothing's funny in this show. Nothing. There is not one single funny thing in this show. So all these shills out here saying, oh, it's so funny and it's this and it's that, oh, it's great. They are full of fucking shit. Okay? It is terrible. It is not funny in the slightest. Not even to where you can get a smirk on your face. It's terrible. So they're doing yoga and shit, and he throws the rock, and the rock lands. She picks up the rock, throws it further. She thinks she's great, and he picks it up and launches it into space, and she's all like, yeah, well done. Yes. So stunning and brave. Everything he's doing, she's doing better. He pushes her off the cliff. She flips him the bird, jumps back up, and says, like, what a dick move. She just wants to leave. She's going to leave. She jumps into a Jeep, which, by the way, she has to bring the seat forward and put a bag on the seat so she can drive it. She basically gives herself a booster seat. He tries to stop her. She takes off. He's on the hood of the Jeep. She does a turn. He goes flying into the rocks. This is where the scene in the trailer where it looks like she does the Hulk clap and throws him into the rocks. No, it's her driving and he comes off the hood of the Jeep and he goes flying into the rocks. She thinks she heard him, comes out. He's like, are you okay? He comes out. He goes, I didn't want to do this, and he claps. And she goes flying. She hulks out. And she does the clap back, but she keeps clapping. So she doesn't do just one big clap and send them flying. She keeps clapping and it just hurts them a bit. They have a bit of a Hulk fight. And in the end, she leaves. And she's just like, okay, see you, Bruce. And he's like, alright, yeah. You know, stay in touch, blah, blah, blah. Then we go back to her in the room. She's like, okay, so you're all caught up, blah, blah, blah. Then you see her in court, watching the other lawyer give his closing argument, and as she's about to give her closing argument, bang, through the wall comes this big frickin' bint. What's her name? Jamil, or whatever. She comes in. She's causing havoc. Jen's buddy, Nikki, calls her over and says, okay, Jen, do your thing. She's like, really? In front of everyone? She's like, yeah, like, of course. And she's like, okay. And she's like, hey, Jen, come back. And she's like, what? Shoes. She's like, alright, Jen. Takes her shoes off. She's like, oh, I really like this suit. Hulks out. Literally, and I mean literally, kicks the shit out of this villain in a matter of seconds. I don't know whether this character is going to show back up in this show. If she doesn't, then I have no idea why they made a big deal about her being in it and were interviewing her. But she's like, hey, who are you? When she hooks up, and she just turns around, the camera zooms in and she says, I'm the attorney at law. Kicks the shit over immediately. Like, there's not even, it's, by the way, a god awful fight scene. Horrible CG unit. Oh, it's just, oh, it's terrible. Kicks the shit over, turns back into Jen, turns around and says, okay, I'm ready to give my closing argument, Your Honor. And the show ends. The whole, oh, make sure you watch the credits because there's all these great closing scenes. The closing scene of the first episode is her and Hulk in Mexico at his little bar where she's pretending to be drunk, virgin shaming Captain America. By the way, there's like cartoony pictures before this. And one of the pictures is her pointing to a board with a picture of Steve Rogers, Captain America, all these other pictures around it, and Virgin written above it with arrows pointing to the Captain. So they're really kind of hitting on this, oh, Captain America was a virgin. So she's like, oh, he was a virgin, blah, blah, blah. And Hulk, Professor Hulk, goes, Steve Rogers was not a virgin. He lost his virginity in 1943. And she instantly goes, I knew it. And he's like, wait, you're not drunk? And she's like, heh. And goes to say, fuck. She's like, yeah, you fuck. And that's where the episode ends. Completely. This show is a dumpster fire. It is trash. I will watch the second episode to review it for you people. Okay? I'm only doing it for you. After this second episode, whenever I think that'll drop next week, I'll have to see whether I go on beyond that because this show is terrible. It is not funny in the slightest. There is not one thing to even make you grin. Okay? The fourth wall breaking stuff is so badly done. The CGI is terrible. The voices, by the way, do not match up with the lips when they're Hulks. That's both Bruce Banner and her, Jennifer Walters. or what? Is it Walters or Walker? I think it's Walters. When they speak, the voices do not match up. And also, when she's human form speaking, you can see that they recorded her there in the room. But when he speaks, when Hulk speaks, you can straight away tell that that's ADR. It's like, yeah, he wasn't there speaking. The show is trash. I do not recommend anyone watch this. And it's all full on, oh, girls are better, blah, blah, goddamn blah. Oh my good God. So when you see all the reviews and they're all like, oh, it's so better than I thought it was. By the way, I think that's hilarious. And the funny how all these shills, your John Campions of the world and your fucking whoever else, Grace Randolphs and all this, sitting there saying, oh, this show is so much better, because I really didn't feel the vibes through the trailers. The trailers, I was a bit, ooh, I don't know about this. And yet, when they were reviewing the trailers before they got to see the show, they were like, oh, this looks great. So there was like, the trailers were fantastic for them until they saw the show, and all of a sudden the trailers were like, oh, you know, I wasn't really sold on the trailers. This show is shit. And everyone who's saying it's great, it's funny, the fourth wall breaking is fantastic, it's the best Marvel product since the last Marvel product, and gets them pumped for the next Marvel product, they're full of shit. Because that's exactly what this show is. Shit. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's terrible. Alright, I'll leave it there for this one. If you did watch it, let us know in the comments what you actually thought of it. But I strongly advise you don't. Alright. Cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.